Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about my personal top 10 least favorites LOL Tweens dolls. Last week I did the more like positive inverse of this video where I talked about the dolls that I thought were best from the Tweens line, but now like I can't have made that video and not make this video, right? Like I have to go on the negative side and talk about the dolls from the Tweens line that I just personally think were a bit of a miss. Of course, the keyword there is personally, as with literally everything on this channel. Everything I say is just my opinion. You're absolutely free to disagree with that. If I say hate a doll that you absolutely love, it's nothing against you personally. We just have different thoughts on things, and that is a-okay. But yeah, we're gonna be focusing on the dolls that I think are ugly today. So let's just hop on into it. Of course, we are going to be starting out at the bottom and then working our way up to what I think is the worst of the worst when it comes to the Tweens. So starting out at like an easy, gentle number 10 is Olivia Flutter, which I feel like it's going to be controversial, and I am sorry. I honestly do like a lot of this doll. Like, honestly, her entire outfit I think is insanely cute. I love the kind of butterfly sunglasses. The butterfly top is to die for. The fuzzy jacket is super cute. Like, I love so much about her. However, me personally, I just can't get behind the like overly tanned platinum blonde aesthetic. That is not a judgment against you if you happen to like that on yourself or on your dolls. Like, that's chill as long as it makes you happy. I don't care, right? Like, that's your thing. But for me, I just don't like it. That's just not an aesthetic that I can get behind. And so that like vibe that she's got going on with the base doll, for me, really takes away for everything else that she has going on. Like, I like so much about her, but I just can't get past that. So this is a very gentle number 10. I don't by any means think that she's an absolutely hideous doll. I don't think she's the worst. Obviously, she's not number one, but I still am just not a huge fan. So she had to make it onto the list. Okay, then for number 9, another one that I think is probably going to be controversial. This is Ivy Winks. And if you've been here for a while, you will probably know that I just in general don't tend to like slumber party dolls. I like my dolls to either be wearing like interesting casual clothes or like formal wear. Like, that's the kind of thing that I personally get into the most. So for me, slumber party dolls just almost never hit. And this one specifically, like, she's already at a disadvantage, right? But I also just think she's kind of boring. Like, she's not ugly. I'm not going to go that far. I think her makeup is cute. Like, her color scheme is fine. But I just don't feel like she's all that exciting. I don't know. To be fair, with me and my opinions, it is hard to make a like slumber party doll exciting at all. So, that's kind of a generalization, but she just doesn't wow me at all. So, my list, I know that it's not necessarily the same thing that everyone would think, but I don't like her. So here she is. We're at number 8, and I'm just now realizing how many of these dolls are pink themed. And I swear I don't hate pink dolls. Like, that's not what the problem is. I just don't like these pink dolls. So this is Fancy Girl, who I believe was from the first line of the Tweens, if I'm not mistaken. So she's like quite a throwback. This just isn't my aesthetic. That's really what it comes down to. Like, again, it's not that I think she's a bad doll. She's just not my aesthetic. I don't like her sunglasses at all. And I don't like this style of like cardigan or jacket or whatever where it like ties at the top and then is open at the bottom. I have never liked that. That's just like not something I can really get behind. I do think that her shoes and socks are cute. Her skirt looks cute. Like, there are nice things about her. But again, for me on a personal level, this just isn't it. Coming in at, I think, number 7, although I have somehow already managed to lose count, is Ray Sands. And I just honestly think she's kind of boring. Like, I like some aspects of her. She's got what looks like an actual chain belt, which I think is a really lovely detail. And I think her color scheme is fine with kind of like the reds and the washed out blue and like the yellow. There are good elements here, but she just lacks a lot of detail to me. I think this was one that came with a tots, if I'm not mistaken. Like, there were a couple of Tweens lines or Tweens dolls that came with like a little tot. It was like a babysitting thing. I don't really know 100% because as soon as I see the tot, I'm out already because that's just not something that I'm into. And because of that, I think that there just was less budget that could go towards this doll in general and really like amping up her outfit and like making her the star of the show. So I kind of see why it happened, but for me, I just think that she's lackluster, I think is probably the best word to go with. She has an ankle bracelet, which I think is super cute because I feel like that's not something you see a lot with dolls, but overall just kind of missed the mark. Then we are taking a look at Marilyn Starr. And as with so many dolls that we've already looked at on this list, and honestly, so many dolls that pop up in all of my top 10 least favorites videos, she's just not my cup of tea. I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with her in terms of like it being a poor design. Like sometimes you look at something and you're like, okay, like that's been over designed or under designed, or like the silhouette is money. Like you can point out things that are actual critiques. This one I'm just like, yeah, I don't like the vibe. I don't like her shoes a lot. Like I really actually dislike the shoes, but most of all, I just feel like none of this is geared towards me. Probably there are a lot of you out there who absolutely love her and that's super chill for you. I just don't feel that way. Sometimes I feel bad in these videos that I don't have like a concrete reason that I don't like something, because it's just I just don't like that's all. And I wish that I could give you more. I wish that I could analyze things, but sometimes there's just not analyzing. There's just I don't like it. Then breaking into the top 5, which in this case is a bad thing, is Billy from the Head Swap line. Now, spoiler alert, we're already in the top 5, but we are still going to see several more Head Swap dolls because I just didn't think that was a good line. And I'm saying that because a lot of my critiques with Billy are like critiques that could be said for the entire Head Swap line. I feel like that kind of marked the Tweens declining for me personally. Again, if you love it, that's super chill. But just in my opinion, I feel like that line really was like, oh, we are veering headlong into really, really focusing on kids as the target audience. Because yes, there's a gimmick, but honestly, I don't think that the head swap gimmick is inherently that childish. Like some gimmicks, like the slime with Rainbow High, I do feel like is so aggressively geared towards children. I don't feel that way about the head swap gimmick necessarily. I feel like that has plenty of potential for adult collectors to like it. But I just feel like the designs that came out with the head swap line inherently feel a bit more childish than a lot of the other Tweens designs that we've seen. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But Billy, to me, definitely giving childish. The tiara is like plastic and clunky, and it's not like, oh, this is a cute tiara. Like it looks like a 3-year-old's play tiara, which, I mean, that's fine for a 3-year-old, but it's not necessarily what I wanted from this doll. And it's not what like I think that the Tweens started out as. I guess that's like the big thing, is that if they had always been this kind of aesthetic, okay, that's just a line that's not for me. But the Tweens could be so good. And then we got this and it just felt kind of insulting. The tutu over the like bell-bottom pants is not a vibe. I could see the tutu going well by itself. I could see the bell-bottom pants going well by themselves. I actually really like the like lace pants separately. I think that's a fun concept. And even like the skirt over jeans, I'm not 100% opposed to. I think it's very hard to do in a way that I personally like, but I can leave myself open to that possibility. It just wasn't done well in this one. This just reads extremely toddler to me. It's not for me, basically. That's the gist of this whole list, but it's not for me. Next up is Winnie, who was also from the head swap line, and she kind of bothers me more because I think she had potential. I've said this in a few videos before, I cannot for the life of me remember where, but sometimes a doll that I just think is flat out ugly actually bothers me less than a doll that I think is almost great, but has one thing that completely ruins her. Because sometimes that like expectation and then the disappointment is so much harder to handle for me than just, oh yeah, I don't like this. And that's kind of how I feel about this one. I think that her dress is quite cute. I like the sheerness of it. I can't tell if it has like glitter or just printed on little like sparkle motifs on it, but either way, I think that's very cute. The pastel pink and the pastel yellow color scheme I think is nice, and I think it could be done quite well. What gets me is the hair bow with like the braids, and the tiara also, like the tiara is too much. I don't know why all these dolls had to come with tiaras. The tween queen slash, tween queen sash. I could not say that. Oh my gosh. That I would just take off. I just think that the bow with the braids looks so awkward. If you wanted to do that, I feel like it would have looked so much better to also have some micro braids mixed in with the hair that isn't tied up in the bow, so that it doesn't look like it was just planted on there, because it isn't mixed in whatsoever. So it just feels a little bit strange. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I just think it looks disconnected. Like it truly doesn't look like hair that's rooted into her head. It doesn't look like she has braids. To me, it looks like she bought a bow made of braids and like stuck it in her hair. And that's just not the vibe. So this is a doll that angers me more because I think she was almost really cool and they just kind of missed the mark. top three now, and we are starting off with a big yikes to Naya Regal. I want to like this doll, but there's just so much fighting against her. I like the hair colors that she has. I think that the black micro braids with like that little bit of blue mixed in looks really, really cool. I like the hairstyle that she's been given. I like her makeup. She's got a lot of graphic liner going on, which I always think is cute. Like, it's so hard to mess up graphic liner on a doll. Like, it just always looks good to me. I think that's really sweet. I even like the top half of her outfit. I feel like the mesh shirt is fine. And then this kind of almost like corset style top with all the straps could be super interesting. And then the bottom half just completely loses the plot. Also, the bows in the hair, I don't think match whatsoever. But my God, the bottom half of this outfit is genuinely just so atrocious. I feel like the shoes that she has on with the socks is a lot and doesn't match the vibe that I'm getting from the top half of this doll. The sort of tutu with the high-low, it like genuinely no part of the bottom half of this outfit is good to me. And this is kind of the same case as Winnie, where this bothers me because I think some elements of this doll are so nice. Like the base doll is nice, and then the top half of her outfit is such a good start. And then it's just absolutely ruined. Like if you crop the photo, this is not so bad. Like this is chill. And then you see the rest, and I feel like I'm getting whiplash. It's awful. I'm very upset by it, clearly. So she definitely had to be up here on the list, which makes me feel bad, but like I had no choice. Coming in at number 2 is going to be Cassie Cool, and I like almost none of this stuff. I feel like a lot of the times with the tweens and the OMGs too, I love the base dolls. Like I feel like they very rarely have a base doll that is a miss. Like her hair is cute. I like the style. I like the color. I like the makeup that she's got popping off. Like that's all fine and dandy. But then the whole outfit to me is just absolutely horrendous. I don't like the shirt tunic situation that she's got mixed with the pants. I feel like maybe the pants could be nice by themselves, but just not in this situation. I have said this multiple times. I don't think that this fabric that they use for the top looks good on a doll scale because the sequins don't look tiny and delicate like they would if you were to make like a human piece of clothing out of this fabric, because compared to a person, those sequins are super tiny. And so it can kind of like have a nice effect, or like you can use it in an artistic way. I'm stumbling over my words because I'm so upset. But with dolls, because they're so much smaller, especially on such a small scale as the tweens, I just feel like it looks really gaudy and gross and awful. Like it doesn't look like fun sequins. It just looks like a bad Halloween costume to me. I violently dislike the handheld tiara situation and whatever is going on with like the necklace belt situation. Like that's all bad. The bag is okay. I really don't mind the bag. But then the shoes, like where did the pink come from? There's really not that color of pink anywhere else on her outfit. Like there's a little bit of pink in her makeup, but it just doesn't feel cohesive at all. I think the pants and the shoes on a different doll could be fine, like separately, not together. I don't think that they match, but like not together, separately, I think they'd be okay. The rest of it is it's just bad to me. I'm sorry. And that brings us to number 1, which I feel like is going to be quite unpopular. So I would like to say I'm sorry in advance, but it is Cora, who I think was also from the Head Swap line. This is just a lot to me. And I know that she is like very retro inspired, so I feel like people who are more a fan of that might really like it. And honestly, sometimes I am too. One of you guys pointed out that in the top 10s tween video, I had a lot of dolls that kind of had a sort of retro aesthetic that I really was drawn to. So I can like it. I just don't like this one. I don't know what it is. Like, I think that the bright neon color scheme can be done super well. Some of my favorite dolls have like really, really bright color schemes like that. I have no problem whatsoever with her hair. Like I honestly think the super voluminous curly hair is quite fun. I don't like the execution of the hair bow. I think it looks kind of tacky. Maybe it's like the mixed animal prints that's getting to me. I don't know. It's just so much. And sometimes I like that. This is another one where I want to be able to pinpoint why I don't like it, but I just can't, because it's not that the inspiration for this doll is inherently something I dislike. I just don't like how it was done here. Maybe it's like all of the volume, because there's a lot of volume in her hair, but then because of the scale, the hair kind of blends in with all of the layers on the dress and the big bow on the dress. Like I just feel like there's nowhere for my eye to rest. And sometimes I don't mind when a doll or anything is super, super intensely designed like that. Like, I don't always need something on a doll's design to be like a blank area where you can like not be seeing anything. But I think the problem is that I keep getting drawn to like the bow that I don't like, and then the other bow. I don't like the bow in her hair, and I also don't like the bow on her dress. And I think my eye keeps bouncing between those two things. And then also the lace tights, which I'm not a fan of those. So I think the problem is more that there's nowhere for my eye to rest, and where my eye keeps going is all things that I don't like. And yeah, it's just not for me, realistically. That's the whole story. I understand why some people like this doll, because I feel like she does have a very, very clear aesthetic. And so if that's your thing, I feel like you would definitely be drawn to this doll. I simply am not. But yes, guys, those are all of the dolls on the docket for today. I am done talking badly about the LOL Tweens, at least for now. Who knows what they'll release in the future that I might have critiques about. But those are my personal top 10 least favorite dolls. As with all of these videos, I would definitely be curious to hear what your opinions are on the dolls that I mentioned, and then also what your least favorite LOL Tweens are, because it's just always interesting to hear how different people perceive the same thing. That's just a like thing. I want a better word than thing. My brain is not providing me with one. That's just an event, an occurrence that I find very interesting. So definitely leave all of your opinions in the comments down below. But regardless of whether you agree with me or not, I hope this video was at least entertaining for you guys. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or your night or whatever it might be, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.